We know you're looking for a truck. And of course, you're looking for a great deal. We've got the trucks and we've got the deals. Get a brand new 2023 Ford F-150 STX 4x4, just $475 per month. And right now, you can get $1,000 in free Ford accessories. And you can only find these at Jim Bass Ford, Houston Hart at Arden Road, or 24/7 at jimbassford.com.
And welcome back to the show. Joining us now in this segment is Merl Brannon with the San Angelo Independent School District. He's the CFO and the Vice President in charge of Business Services. And also joining me, Joe Hyde. Let's talk a little bit about Merl first. Thanks for being here. And let's talk about the impact of the appraisals on what that's going to do to the school budget and the school budget process.
So, kind of unique to a school district. Those property values drive not only what's collected, within the county and within the school district, but also the state values come into play. So as property values go up for the school district, that adjusts what the state aid brings into the school district. This year is very comparable. About half of the money that comes into the school district is from local taxes, and the other half is from state aid, and then that offsets each other. As one goes up, the other goes down, and vice versa.
So it really doesn't matter what our tax rate or how much we tax the property in Tom Green County or in the San Angelo ISD area. You're pretty much going to be limited. I mean, you can't give a tax cut and keep the same. You're going to lose double. It's like an exponential problem, because if you cut your budget down to, I'm going to pull out a number. You cut your budget from 110 million to 100 million, right? The state's going to not match as much, so you've actually doubled the cut. Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, it does. The probably the biggest reflection on the taxes that it would be of value is in your interest in sinking. If you had a bond, for example, those property values would certainly mean a lot on those exact pennies that were involved.
And what you're alluding to is the school district, school finance, which I know Yantis knows a lot about too, is cut into maintenance and operation, interest and sinking.
Yes,
our
sir.
interest in sinking, our bonds are pretty much going back to 2008. When we had the major bonds. So we haven't had any major bonds since.
No.
So we're probably going to retire these bonds in a couple of years, I would think. So that would make our tax rate go lower, and it wouldn't impact the state's contribution to us, correct?
Right. The 2008 was the last bond, and what you have seen since that time is a reduction in taxes by the school district over that time. We're actually now probably, in looking back at the history for the school district, the lowest tax rate in the last 20 years.
Yeah, we were at 3 years ago. We were at about $1.21, $1.22 per $100 of valuation. Now we're at 97 cents.
Yes.
And then talking with State Rep Drew Darby, he says they're working on legislation that could drop that in our district probably as much as 15 more cents. That's what he was saying.
Yes, the legislature has made a big push in the last 2 to 3 years to drive down, property tax across the state. And what probably seems a little frustrating to homeowners is the values of the homes continue to increase. And even though we have lowered property taxes,
well, you've lowered the tax rate.
The tax rate,
right?
As the tax rate comes down, it seems like the tax, what the homeowner's paying hasn't changed.
Right.
But that's really just built into the value of the home being higher.
Yantis, when you were at Cristobal ISD, what was your tax rate back then?
Well, back then we were. It's been a while, and we were under. We were shifting from Robin Hood, or in one of the evolutions of Robin Hood, and the state cap came in at $1.50. So what the legislature learned, and what school districts across Texas learned, was if you set a cap, then every district in the state raises their rate to that cap. And again, that was many years ago, and this is a whole different ball game. Merle, what keeps you up at night about state funding for public schools?
I think most people would say it's in a legislative year because we really don't know at the moment how that's going to turn out.
Right.
There's always a little bit of give and take between the two different houses, and so we're not sure how that's going to end. If we go into a special session, it could be July before we really have some hard budget numbers to start planning, and then you have to plan in a hurry to be ready for the start of a school year.
Well, you have an amazingly complex job, and I sure don't envy what you have to do. And I'll give you the last word. What would you like to say about the appraisal process and where school funding for the SAISD is right now?
I know that certainly the county appraiser's in a tough spot.
Yeah.
From the state level, there's an expectation to meet what's going on across the state in values, and so there's an expectation for those to be higher, and then you have to offset that, with your neighbor, right? That's right next door that's having to pay that tax, and it's not an easy situation. The Board of Trustees for San Angelo ISD and Dr. Detloff have certainly been their effort is to continue to lower that over time, and I think that's what you see in the last 10 years, a steady decline of the tax rate for San Angelo ISD and our parents and families that in the community. So that's kind of where we are. And, there'll be a time that it's we need another bond, and so I'm hoping that as good stewards of taxpayer money that we can continue to earn that trust, and when it's time to do that and improve facilities for the children of San Angelo, that they'll understand that and support it.
I got one last question. The vouchers have become a big deal. What would vouchers do to San Angelo ISD financially? If they said, okay, you can send your kid anywhere, here's a voucher, and we all of a sudden have kids going to every school that's in the Concho Valley, what do you think would happen with the San Angelo ISD financially?
I think we'd see an impact, certainly. I think just with the idea of a voucher being new and that you can have school of your choice, I think there would be families that would make that move for whatever reason, maybe in a smaller school district or whatever that is. So I think at face value, first year, that may happen, and it would actually take funding out of the school district. And I think that's what you'll see across the state is a reduction in funding for public schools, and it certainly will make it difficult for the children that are still in our schools. I don't know how that would work over time. If the other schools aren't accountable, in state test scores and graduation rates and things of that nature, then you might see a return of students back to the public school system, but that's hard to predict. But it would be a financial impact right off the bat.
Well, Merl, again, thanks for coming, and that's an issue we'll be talking about throughout the summer after the legislature finishes its last day of the session, maybe even going into special sessions. But we appreciate you being here, and we'll be right back after this.
Okay, thank you. Glad to be here.
We know you're looking for a truck. And of course, you're looking for a great deal. We've got the trucks and we've got the deals. Get a brand new 2023 Ford F-150 STX 4x4, just $475 per month. And right now, you can get $1,000 in free Ford accessories. And you can only find these at Jim Bass Ford, Houston Hart at Arden Road, or 24/7 at jimbassford.com.